The galactic status quo. For millennia, the Scaran Empire had reigned supreme over the known galaxy. Their massive, crystalline forms struck terror into the hearts of countless species across thousands of worlds. With bodies harder than diamond and the ability to manipulate energy at will, the Scaran were living weapons of mass destruction. But it wasn't just their physical prowess that made them the undisputed rulers of space. The Scaran possessed technology so advanced it bordered on magic to most other species. Their Heshit armadas could darken the skies of entire planets, each vessel bristling with weapons capable of cracking open moons. Scaran warriors wore battlesuits that enhanced their already formidable abilities, making them virtually invincible on any battlefield. At the head of this terrifying empire sat the overmind, a being of such vast psionic power that it could coordinate the actions of trillions of Scaran across the galaxy with frightening efficiency. Under its rule, the empire had expanded relentlessly for thousands of years, crushing or enslaving any who dared stand in their way. The Scaran's conquests had become so routine that they had grown complacent. Victory was assured before the first shot was fired. Newly discovered species would inevitably fall to their knees and surrender, or be obliterated if they dared to resist. This was the natural order of things. It was in this context of absolute dominance that the Scaran first detected signals from a backwater arm of the galaxy. The emissions were primitive by their standards, radio waves, and early attempts at faster-than-light communications. But they hinted at a spacefaring civilization previously unknown to the Empire. Initial scouting reports painted a picture of a species hardly worth the Scaran's attention. These humans, as they called themselves, were soft-bodied creatures with no natural defenses. They were confined to a single star system, having only recently taken their first tentative steps beyond their home world. Their technology was laughably outdated by galactic standards. Yet something about these humans piqued the overmind's interest. Perhaps it was their rapid technological advancement over a mere few centuries, or maybe it was the diversity of their cultures and ideas, so unlike the uniform hive mind of the Scaran. Whatever the reason, it ordered a more thorough investigation. As the Scaran observed humanity from afar, they began to notice curious anomalies. These fragile beings displayed a tenacity that seemed at odds with their physical limitations. They thrived in environments that should have killed them and bounced back from disasters with surprising speed. Their societies were chaotic and divided, yet they made technological leaps that took other species millennia to achieve. The Scaran were particularly puzzled by human creativity. The concept was almost alien to their hive mind. Why would one need to create when the most efficient solutions were already known? Yet humans seemed to revel in finding new ways to do things, even if those ways weren't always the most practical. Despite these oddities, the Scaran remained confident in their superiority. Humans might be interesting specimens, but they posed no threat to the Empire. When the Order finally came to invade Earth and its colonies, the Scaran approached the task with the same casual arrogance that had marked their previous conquests. As the invasion fleet assembled on the fringes of the Sol system, the Scaran commanders anticipated little resistance. Their sensors showed Earth's defenses to be primitive and sparse. The handful of human colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter were even more vulnerable. By all calculations, this would be a swift and total victory. Yet, as the first wave of Scaran ships entered the system, they encountered something unexpected. Instead of panic or immediate surrender, they were met with a flurry of activity. Human ships, though vastly outgunned, moved to defensive positions with surprising coordination. Stations on Mars and Europa fired up mysterious energy signatures that the Scaran couldn't immediately identify. On Earth itself, instead of chaos, there seemed to be a sense of grim determination. Broadcasts intercepted by the Scaran spoke not of capitulation, but of unity and resistance. Leaders from nations that had been bitter enemies mere days before now stood shoulder to shoulder, rallying their people for the fight ahead. The Scaran dismissed these acts of defiance as the last futile gestures of a doomed species. They had seen it before. the false bravado quickly crumbling in the face of overwhelming force. Yet, as they moved in for the kill, a small doubt began to creep into the hive mind. These humans were reacting with a speed and adaptability that Scaran had never encountered. Within hours of the invasion fleet's arrival, Earth's satellites had been reconfigured into a makeshift early warning system. Weapons that had been pointed at other humans were now aimed skyward, ready to defend against the common threat. Most worryingly, the humans seemed to be using technology that the Scaran's initial scans had missed. Stealth systems masked the movements of small, agile craft that darted between the planets. Energy shields, thought to be beyond human capabilities, flickered to life around key installations. As the first shots were fired and the invasion of Earth began in earnest, the Scaran felt something they hadn't experienced in millennia: uncertainty. These humans were not behaving like any prey species they had encountered before. For the first time in living memory, the outcome of a Scaran conquest was not a foregone conclusion. The overmind, watching the battle unfold from its sanctum deep in Scaran's space, felt a strange sensation ripple through the hive mind. It was an alien emotion, one that took it a moment to identify. It was respect. As the Scaran warships descended upon Earth, humanity steeled itself for the fight of its existence. Against all odds, and in defiance of an enemy that had never known defeat, the human race prepared to prove that sometimes the most dangerous prey is the one you underestimate. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons or technology, but in its indomitable spirit and its ability to achieve the impossible when pushed to the brink. The stage was set for a conflict that would reshape the cosmic order. The Scaran were about to face an enemy unlike any they had ever encountered, an enemy that refused to accept defeat, an enemy that would fight with every ounce of its being to survive and thrive. The battle for Earth and for humanity's place in the galaxy was about to begin. The Quantum Gambit. As the Scaran invasion force darkened Earth's skies, humanity faced its darkest hour. But in the depths of an underground facility in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, a team of scientists was about to change the course of the war and history itself. Dr. Samantha Chen, a brilliant quantum physicist with a reputation for unorthodox theories, stood before a shimmering portal of swirling energy. Her creation, the Quantum Entanglement Amplifier HFY, was the result of decades of research and a stroke of desperate inspiration. "It's ready," she announced to the room of anxious military personnel and fellow scientists. "But I can't guarantee what will happen when we activate it." General Marcus Blackwood, a grizzled veteran who had seen too many good soldiers die in the first wave of the invasion, stepped forward. "At this point, Doctor, we're out of options. Whatever happens, it can't be worse than what those crystal bastards are doing to our planet." Samantha nodded grimly and began the activation sequence. The HFY hummed to life, its energy field expanding until it enveloped the entire room. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself began to ripple. Across the globe, in the heat of battle, human soldiers suddenly found themselves moving with impossible speed and precision. Fighter pilots reported that their neural interfaces were operating at unprecedented levels, allowing them to outmaneuver Scaran ships that should have been far superior. But the most startling effect was on human creativity and problem-solving. Engineers and tacticians experienced flashes of insight that bordered on precognition. Solutions to previously insurmountable problems presented themselves with startling clarity. The Scaran, for the first time in their long history, found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to be evolving before their very eyes. In orbit, Captain Zara Hendricks of the hastily retrofitted cargo ship Defiant watched in awe as her rectic fleet of civilian vessels, armed with jury-rigged weapons, tore through the Scaran blockade. Her mind raced with tactical possibilities she'd never considered before, each move anticipating the enemy's response 3 steps ahead. "How is this possible?" her first officer, Jin Park, asked in disbelief as they watched another Scaran cruiser erupt into crystalline fragments. Zara shook her head, a fierce grin spreading across her face. "I don't know, but I'm not about to question it. All ships press the advantage." On the ground, the effects of the HFY were even more pronounced. In the ruins of London, a group of survivors led by former history teacher turned resistance fighter Aidan O'Connor found themselves instinctively understanding the alien technology they'd scavenged. "It's like, I can see how it all fits together," Aidan muttered as he reassembled his Scaran energy rifle, his hands moving with a surety that belied his lack of technical training. Not just the components, but the underlying principles. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity's collective intelligence and creativity skyrocketed. Factories that had been struggling to reverse engineer alien tech were suddenly producing innovations that surpassed even Scaran designs. But the HFY's effects weren't limited to technology and tactics. The device had tapped into something far more fundamental, the very essence of human potential. In a refugee camp in what was once Central Africa, a young girl named Amara woke from a vivid dream, her mind filled with equations and schematics for a device that could disrupt the Scaran's hive mind communication. Without fully understanding how, she began to sketch out her ideas, setting in motion a chain of events that would turn the tide of the war. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Pacific Ocean, marine biologist Dr. Kenji Tanaka made a startling discovery. The heightened mental state induced by the HFY had allowed him to communicate with Earth's cetaceans on a level never before achieved. As he surfaced from a dive, his eyes wide with excitement, he realized that humanity had just gained millions of new allies in the fight against the invaders. The Scaran, their hive mind reeling from the sudden unpredictability of their human opponents, began to fall back. For the first time, confusion and discord spread through their ranks. The overmind, sensing the shift in the battle's momentum, focused its vast psychic powers on identifying the source of this unexpected threat. As the alien consciousness probed Earth's defenses, it encountered something it had never experienced before, a collective human will, amplified and unified by the HFY, yet maintaining the spark of individual creativity that made humans so unique. In that moment of contact, both humanity and the Scaran glimpsed a truth that would forever change the course of galactic history. The true power of the human spirit, when unleashed, was a force that even the most advanced technology couldn't match. Back in the underground facility, Dr. Chen watched the data streams with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The HFY was performing beyond her wildest expectations, but she could see that the system was becoming unstable. They were pushing the boundaries of quantum physics, and the fabric of reality itself was beginning to strain. "We need to shut it down," she said, her voice barely a whisper. General Blackwood, who had been coordinating the global counteroffensive, turned to her with a look of disbelief. "Shut it down. Doctor, we're winning." Samantha met his gaze, her expression grave. "If we don't, we might unravel the very laws of physics. I don't know what that would mean for our universe, but I doubt it would be good for anyone, human or Scaran." As the general wrestled with the decision, alarms began to blare throughout the facility. The HFY's energy field was expanding beyond their ability to contain it. "It's not giving us a choice," Samantha shouted over the noise. "It's shutting itself down." As she raced to initiate the emergency shutdown sequence, a blinding flash of light engulfed the room. For a brief moment, Samantha felt her consciousness expand, touching minds across the planet and beyond. She saw flashes of the past, glimpses of possible futures, and in one crystalline instant, understood the true nature of the universe. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The HFY went dark, its components fused and blackened. In the stunned silence that followed, General Blackwood's comm unit crackled to life. "Sir," a voice reported, "the Scaran fleet, they're retreating. All across the globe, they're pulling back." As the implications of this news sank in, Samantha leaned heavily against her ruined creation. They had done it. Humanity had survived its trial by fire. But as she looked at the scorched remnants of the HFY, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Somewhere out in the vast expanse of space, the overmind contemplated its first defeat in millennia. These humans, with their inexplicable abilities and their maddening unpredictability, had proven themselves to be far more than mere prey. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species that could reshape the very nature of galactic civilization. As the Scaran armada limped back to the Empire's core worlds, a new era dawned. Humanity, having glimpsed its true potential, would never be the same. And the galaxy, for better or worse, was about to experience a revolution unlike any in its long and storied history. The quantum gambit had paid off, but the game was far from over. The true challenge, building a future in a universe forever changed by human ingenuity, was just beginning. The Cosmic Symphony. In the aftermath of humanity's improbable victory against the Scaran invasion, Earth found itself thrust onto the galactic stage. The 2EA incident, now known as the Quantum Awakening, had unlocked potential within the human race that defied conventional understanding. As the dust settled, humanity faced a new challenge, harnessing their newfound abilities while navigating a suddenly much larger and more complex universe. Dr. Samantha Chen, hailed as the architect of Earth's salvation, stood before the newly formed United Earth Council. Her hair had gone prematurely grey, a side effect of her brief connection to the cosmic consciousness during the 2EA's final moments. The Quantum Awakening didn't just save us, she explained, her voice resonating with an authority that seemed to transcend the room. It fundamentally altered our species on a quantum level. We've become aware of what I can only describe as the Cosmic Symphony, the underlying harmonic structure of the universe itself. Momos rippled through the assembled leaders as holographic displays flickered to life, showing complex waveforms and multidimensional equations that seemed to shift and dance. Every human now has the potential to hear this symphony, Samantha continued, some more clearly than others. But with training, we can learn to not just hear it, but to play it, to manipulate the very fabric of reality. General Blackwood, now head of Earth's fledgling cosmic defense force, leaned forward. And this Scaran? Can they hear this symphony? Samantha shook her head. Not in the same way. Their hive mind, ironically, limits them. They're locked into a single rigid frequency. It's what made them so powerful for so long, but also what made them vulnerable to our sudden evolution. As the implications sank in, a young woman stood up from the back of the room. Amara, the girl whose dreams had provided the key to disrupting the Scaran hivemind, had grown into a prodigy in the years since the invasion. We're not alone in this ability, she said, her voice carrying a wisdom beyond her years. I've been in contact with other species, ones that have been hiding from the Scaran for millennia. They call themselves the Harmonics, and they want to meet. The revelation sent shockwaves through human society. As news spread of humanity's new role in the galactic community, a cultural renaissance exploded across the planet. Artists, musicians, and scientists collaborated in ways never before imagined, creating works that literally reshaped reality. In the orbit of Jupiter, the first human-built Dyson swarm took shape, each component a masterpiece of engineering that drew power not just from the sun, but from the quantum fabric of space itself. Led by engineer Xiao Li, whose mind now worked on levels that would have been incomprehensible before the awakening, the project promised to solve humanity's energy needs for millennia to come. But with great power came great responsibility. As humans began to explore their new abilities, incidents of accidental reality warping occurred. In Rio de Janeiro, a street performer's particularly moving violin concerto caused the Christ the Redeemer statue to come to life, dancing samba for an awestruck crowd before returning to its original form. To address these challenges, the Cosmic Conservatory was established. Part school, part research institute, it aimed to help humans understand and control their newfound powers. At its head was an unlikely duo, Dr. Kenji Tanaka, the marine biologist who had first communicated with Earth's cetaceans, and a hyper-intelligent sperm whale named Opus. The whales and dolphins have been aware of the cosmic symphony for millions of years, Kenji explained during the conservatory's opening ceremony. They've agreed to be our teachers, to help us find our voice in the universal chorus. As humanity grappled with its new reality, the first diplomatic mission to meet the harmonics prepared for departure. The starship Orpheus, a vessel that seemed to phase in and out of normal space-time, hummed with anticipation. Its crew, a diverse mix of Earth's most gifted individuals, included Captain Zara Hendricks, the hero of the orbital defense during the Scaran invasion. "We're about to rewrite the book on first contact," Zara addressed her crew as they prepare for their quantum jump. "Remember, we're not just representing Earth, but a new chapter in cosmic history." With a shimmer of iridescent energy, the Orpheus vanished from Earth orbit, riding the currents of the cosmic symphony towards a rendezvous that would shape the fate of galaxies. Meanwhile, on a distant world at the edge of known space, the Scaran overmind brooded in its crystalline sanctum. The defeat at Earth had shattered the Empire's aura of invincibility, and rebellions were flaring up across its vast territories. But the overmind was not defeated. It had tasted the power of the quantum awakening during that final confrontation, and now it burned with a terrible new purpose. If it could not conquer this new humanity, it would find a way to remake itself, to evolve beyond the limitations of its own nature. In the depths of its consciousness, the overmind began to weave a new pattern, a discordant melody that threatened to unravel the very harmony humans had just learned to cherish. Back on Earth, in a small cafe in Paris, Aidan O'Connor, once a history teacher, then a resistance fighter, now a respected historian, sat across from a being that defied easy description. Part energy, part matter, its form rippled with colors beyond the human visual spectrum. "You understand," the being said, its words bypassing Aidan's ears and resonating directly in his mind, "that by joining the Galactic community, you've also inherited its conflicts. The Scaran were but one movement in a grand and terrible opera that has been playing out for eons." Aidan nodded, sipping his espresso with a calmness that belied the weight of the moment. "We faced extinction and emerged stronger. Whatever comes next, humanity will face it head-on." The being's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Brave words. Let's hope you can live up to them. The next movement is about to begin, and it promises to be revolutionary." As if on cue, the sky above Paris shimmered, the air itself seeming to crystallize for a moment before shattering into a dazzling display of light and sound. Citizens looked up in wonder, their awakened senses allowing them to perceive layers of reality previously hidden. Aidan stood, his eyes fixed on the spectacle above. "Well then," he said, a smile tugging at his lips, "shall we take our seats? It would be a shame to miss the opening act." The being's form dissolved into motes of light that swirled around Aidan before coalescing into a humanoid shape. Indeed, the cosmic symphony awaits, and humanity's voice may well be the one that determines whether the next movement ends in harmony or discord. Together, the human and the enigmatic aliens stepped out into the streets of Paris, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. Above them, the sky continued to shimmer, a visible reminder that reality itself was changing, and humanity was at the heart of that change. As news of these events spread across the globe and beyond, a phrase began to circulate, first in whispers, then in headlines, and finally in the thoughts of every awakened human. "The universe is listening. What song will we choose to sing?" The Quantum Nexus. As humanity's influence spread across the cosmos, a new challenge emerged that would test the limits of their newfound abilities and reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The discovery of the Quantum Nexus, a mysterious multidimensional construct at the heart of the Milky Way, set the stage for a conflict that would determine the fate of not just our galaxy, but countless others. Dr. Samantha Chen, now leading the Cosmic Cartography Initiative, stood before a holographic representation of the Quantum Nexus. Its swirling fractal patterns defied conventional physics, pulsing with energies that even humanity's enhanced perceptions struggled to comprehend. We believe the Nexus is a sort of cosmic switchboard, she explained to the assembled leaders of Earth and its allied species. It connects our reality to an infinite number of parallel universes, each with its own unique variations of the cosmic symphony. Amara, now a young woman and Earth's foremost expert on interdimensional communications, stepped forward. But it's more than that. The Nexus is alive, in a sense. It's been reaching out, calling to awakened species across the multiverse. And we're not the only ones listening. General Blackwood, his face lined with the weight of command, frowned. You're saying we're in a race? A race, a war, and a revolution all at once, Amara confirmed. Whoever controls the Nexus could reshape reality itself. The Scaran know this, and they're not the only threat we face. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Holograms shifted to show a massive fleet emerging from the depths of intergalactic space. Ships of impossible geometries, some as large as small moons, bristled with weapons that seemed to bend light around them. The Void Harmonists, Amara whispered, her voice tinged with awe and fear. A coalition of species from dark matter galaxies. They seek to rewrite the fundamental constants of our universe to make it more hospitable for their kind. Captain Zara Hendricks, recently returned from her mission to the Harmonics, stepped up to the tactical display. We can't fight a conventional war against this kind of threat. We need to think bigger, more symphonic. Agreed, said Kenji Tanaka, the cetacean communication expert. Beside him, a holographic representation of Opus the whale flickered into view. The whales have been singing of this moment for eons. They call it the Great Crescendo. As the leaders debated strategy across Earth and its colonies, humans from all walks of life began to feel the pull of the Nexus. Artists created works that seemed to bridge dimensions, their paintings and sculptures shifting in ways that defied rational explanation. Musicians composed pieces that resonated with the very strings of reality, causing spontaneous outbreaks of quantum entanglement. In the streets of New Delhi, a young street performer named Ravi found himself at the center of a reality-warping flash mob. As his fingers danced across his sitar, the crowd around him began to move in perfect synchronization, their combined consciousness briefly touching minds across the galaxy. Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, engineer Xiao Li put the finishing touches on humanity's secret weapon, the Harmony Forge. This massive space station, built from technology that blended the best of human innovation and alien insight, was designed to amplify the collective will of an entire species. If we can get enough minds working in concert, Xiao explained to her team, we might be able to rewrite the rules of engagement, make it so that violence itself becomes impossible within the Nexus. As preparations for the coming conflict accelerated, Earth received an unexpected visitor. A being of pure energy, calling itself the Nexus Guardian, materialized in the heart of the United Earth Council chamber. Your species stands at a crossroads, it intoned, its voice resonating at a frequency that made reality itself vibrate. The choices you make in the coming days will echo across eternity. But beware, there are those who would use the power of the Nexus for ends that would unravel the very fabric of existence. The Guardian's warning was punctuated by a massive quantum shockwave that rippled across the galaxy. At the edge of human space, a Scaran battle fleet phased into reality, led by a vessel that dwarfed even their largest hive ships. At its heart sat the overmind, now transformed into a being of crystalline quantum energy, its consciousness expanded to godlike proportions. The symphony will be rewritten, the overmind's thoughts boomed across space and time. All realities will be brought into perfect, unchanging harmony under our rule. As the Scaran fleet advanced, tearing holes in space-time with weapons of unimaginable power, humanity and its allies prepared for a battle unlike any in cosmic history. The Orpheus, with Captain Hendricks at the helm, led a flotilla of ships towards the Quantum Nexus, each vessel crewed by beings representing the best hopes of their respective species. Aboard the Harmony Forge, Xiao Lei initiated the startup sequence. Across human space, billions of minds turned their focus to a single purpose, their awakened consciousness merging into a gestalt of staggering power. At the same time, Amara and a team of humanity's most gifted psychics gathered in a specially prepared chamber deep beneath the surface of Mars. Their goal: to project their combined consciousness through the Nexus, seeking allies and solutions from across the multiverse. As the opposing forces converged on the Quantum Nexus, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of humanity or even a single universe, but the very nature of existence across all possible realities. In Paris, Aidan O'Connor looked up at the sky, where the approaching battle was visible as a dance of light and energy that outshone the stars. Beside him, his enigmatic alien companion shape-shifted restlessly. "And so it begins," Aidan murmured. "The greatest story ever told, with the highest stakes imaginable." The alien nodded, its form settling into something almost human. "Indeed. But remember, my friend, in the cosmic symphony, every voice matters. The smallest note can change the entire composition." As if in response to these words, a sound began to build. It started as a whisper, barely perceptible, but quickly grew in strength and complexity. From every corner of Earth, from the colonies on Mars and Europa, from ships and stations across human space, a song arose. Billions of voices joined in perfect harmony, each unique yet part of a greater whole. The song reached out, touching the minds of allies and enemies alike. It resonated with the very strings of the cosmic symphony, creating ripples that spread across dimensions. As the combined fleets reached the Nexus, the song reached its crescendo. For a moment that stretched into eternity, the universe held its breath. Then, with a flash of light that outshone galaxies, the battle for the Quantum Nexus began. The fate of all realities hung in the balance, and humanity's voice would play a crucial role in the cosmic chorus that would shape the future of existence itself. As the first shots were fired, a phrase echoed across the cosmos, carried on waves of quantum energy. In the grandest of operas, humanity takes center stage. Let our song be one of hope, of unity, and of the indomitable spirit that defines us. For in this moment, we are all conductors of the cosmic symphony, the multiversal crescendo. As the battle for the Quantum Nexus raged across dimensions, humanity found itself at the epicenter of a conflict that defied conventional understanding. The very fabric of reality rippled and tore as forces beyond mortal comprehension clashed in a symphony of creation and destruction. Captain Zara Hendricks, her consciousness expanded to encompass the entirety of the Orpheus and its crew, navigated the ship through realities that shifted like quicksand. "Brace for dimensional shift," she called out, her voice resonating through the minds of her crew rather than their ears. The Orpheus phased through a kaleidoscope of alternate histories, worlds where the Scaran had won, realities where Earth had never formed, universes where the laws of physics operated on fundamentally different principles. With each transition, the crew's understanding of their place in the cosmic orchestra grew. Meanwhile, aboard the Harmony Forge, engineer Xiao Lai orchestrated a feat of engineering that bordered on the divine. Billions of human minds, their thoughts amplified and harmonized by the station's quantum circuits, projected a field of pure possibility into the heart of the Nexus. "We're not just fighting," Xiao communicated to the united consciousness of humanity. "We're composing. Each thought, each action, is a note in the grandest symphony ever conceived." As the human fleet engaged the Scaran armada and the eldritch ships of the Void Harmonists, a new phenomenon began to manifest. The concentrated will of awakened humanity, channeled through the Harmony Forge, started to alter the fundamental rules of engagement. Weapons fire from the Scaran crystalline dreadnoughts, instead of destroying human ships, transmuted into bursts of creative energy. Void Harmonist entropy beams, designed to unravel the very atoms of their targets, were redirected into stable wormholes connecting disparate parts of the multiverse. Dr. Samantha Chen, monitoring the battle from Earth's Cosmic Command Center, watched in awe as reality itself seemed to bend to humanity's collective will. We're not just participating in the cosmic symphony, she realized. We're rewriting it. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, Amara and her team of psychics pushed their abilities to the limit. Their minds, linked in a complex quantum entanglement, reached out across the multiverse. In countless alternate realities, they found versions of humanity, some more advanced, some only beginning to grasp their cosmic potential. Connect them, Amara commanded, her voice strained with the effort of maintaining the multiversal link. Let all of humanity, across every possible timeline, join in this moment. The effect was instantaneous and breathtaking. Quadrillions of human minds, spanning infinite realities, suddenly found themselves united in a single purpose. The cosmic symphony swelled with the combined creativity, determination, and hope of humanity across all possible existences. In the heart of this Scaran fleet, the overmind reeled from the onslaught of human consciousness. Its carefully constructed plans, spanning millennia and countless conquered worlds, began to unravel. Impossible, the thought boomed across realities. You are but one species, young and fragile. How can you stand against the combined might of the universe? The answer came not in words, but in a surge of pure emotion and will that transcended language. Determination, creativity, love, the very qualities that the Scaran had dismissed as weaknesses now proved to be humanity's greatest strength. As the battle reached its peak, the Quantum Nexus itself seemed to awaken. The swirling energies at its core coalesced into a form that defied description, part machine, part living entity, part fundamental force of nature. The Nexus Guardian, its true form finally revealed, addressed the assembled forces of multiple universes. For eons, we have waited for a species worthy of ascending. One that could grasp the true nature of reality and shape it not through force but through harmony. A beam of pure possibility lanced out from the Nexus, enveloping the Orpheus. Captain Hendricks felt her consciousness expand beyond anything she had ever experienced. In that moment, she understood. We are the conductors, she said, her words echoing across dimensions. Not just of this battle, but of the very future of the multiverse. With a thought, Zara reached out to the united human consciousness. Together, she commanded, let's show the cosmos what humanity is truly capable of. What followed defied description in any known language. The combined will of humanity, amplified by the harmony forge and channeled through the quantum nexus, rewrote the very laws of reality. Space and time folded in on themselves, probability waves collapsed and reformed in patterns that reshaped the fundamental structure of the multiverse. This Scaran fleet, once the most feared force in the galaxy, found itself transformed. The crystalline beings, their hive mind shattered and reformed, awakened to a new way of existence. The void harmonists, confronted with a power that dwarfed their own, retreated to the spaces between universes, forever changed by their encounter with human potential. As the energies of the cosmic symphony reached a fever pitch, a new multiverse was born. One where the boundaries between realities were permeable, where the collective will of sentient beings shaped the very nature of existence. And at the heart of it all stood humanity, no longer just participants in the cosmic dance, but its lead choreographers. In the aftermath, as the new laws of reality settled into place, Aidan O'Connor found himself standing on a world that was Earth, yet not Earth. The sky above him showed not just stars, but the swirling energies of multiple dimensions. His alien companion, now a being of pure light and possibility, turned to him. And so the next movement begins. What will humanity compose with the multiverse as its instrument? Aidan smiled, feeling the infinite potential that now lay before his species. Something beautiful, he said, something that will echo across eternity. As the new multiverse hummed with possibility, a message rippled across dimensions, touching the minds of humans in every reality. The cosmic symphony is ours to conduct. Let our song be one of wonder, of discovery, and of the boundless potential that lies within us all. For in this grand concert of existence, humanity's voice will forever ring out, clear and true, shaping the very fabric of reality with each passing note. And so a new era dawned, one where humanity, once a small species on a tiny planet in an unremarkable galaxy, now stood as the guardians and shapers of a multiverse full of infinite possibility. The greatest adventure in the history of existence had only just begun.